guys, it's me, Jamil the Lone Star. So today I'm here in Santa Monica, Los Angeles. We have a beautiful weather right across from the Gold's Gym and not far away from the Venice Beach. And today I have a very, very special guest. Today I'm talking to Malia Bernal. Hello, Malia.
Hello, Jamil. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm so happy talking to you. So first of all, I'd like to know, what is the secret that you are so awesome in shape?
I'm single. No, I practice what I preach. I eat relatively healthy. I train every day except Saturday and Sunday. I'm happy. Happiness lives within me. And I'm a believer in God. I'm a child of God.
Awesome. So I know you as a very, very disciplined person.
Yes.
So when did you start martial art?
I started late, actually. I started at 22. You know, most people start 15, 14, 12, even younger, but I started at 22. I was amazed that starting at 22, I could accomplish all that I did at starting at such a late age.
So what brings you to martial art?
Actually, it wasn't my choice. I really didn't even know what martial arts was all about. It was a gift from my family that thought, since I was the baby in a family with 9 siblings, and I was always fighting with them, but I never knew the proper way to fight. And my family thought, well, now at 22 I was married and had a child. And at that time, you know, my husband worked night and I was alone a lot. They thought I should know how to take care of myself.
Right.
So they wanted me to take self-defense, but they gave me something like a money order or something. This is how much, and you go find a martial arts school. So I went on the hunt.
Great. So what was the first system you started with? What was it?
Well, I've only actually studied in one system, and that would be with Alda Casco, so Kajikempo, Champa Kung Fu, One Hap Kyundo.
Yeah. So all your rules, your martial art rules are based on the soft style Kung Fu?
Always, yes. However, I must say that when I was looking for a martial arts school, I thought I would just go to the neighborhood. You know, you see a lot of these karate schools, and I thought, well, I'll go check that out. But I realized that my body's kind of flowing, and I wasn't really rigid and the hard style type person. And I didn't just feel like, you know how it didn't just settle that it was for me. And I thought, no, I'm going to look and see, because you know, martial arts is like a menu. There's so many different styles to choose from. And so I went to everything. And finally, my last stop was at this school that I thought, well, it's either a martial arts school or a Chinese restaurant. Either way, I'll get food or I'll sign up.
That's unbelievable.
And that was how I walked in to this school. And it was interesting because when I actually walked into the school, there was this man on a ladder working on lights above a big pagoda. And I thought, it must be the handyman, repairman. And I just dismissed him from my mind. But later on, when I signed up and became a member of this school and was taking my first class, who, lo and behold, was it that was in front of me? Was the handyman.
Oh, no.
Al, he was the man that I thought was the handyman. So that's how I started.
That's a very nice story.
With Al.
So everybody knows you as such a successful woman, especially in the 60s and 70s. You win everything in competition. You know, you compete and in weapon and forms and fighting. So what was your favorite? Was it forms or was it fighting? What was it at this time?
Well, you know, at the very beginning, I didn't know one from the other. I walked in for self-defense. I didn't know there were tournaments. I didn't know there were magazines. I didn't know there was weapons. I didn't know there was Kyun. I didn't know any of that. I just came totally blind to the art. When I started, of course, it was with fighting, and I was only in the school 6 weeks when Al threw me in my first tournament. And
after 6 weeks?
After 6 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
Into my first tournament.
Wow.
But I came to him really fit because I was considering going into competition water skiing. and that was where my path was taking me.
Oh.
And so I had really strong legs, really strong woman to begin with. And I never have been out of shape. I've always wanted to be fit. And so when I went to this first tournament, that was when I saw, oh, what are all these people doing out here? I saw form, I saw weapons, and fighting. And so I didn't say anything to my instructor. I just observed, and I thought, you got to get through this day, see if you even ever want to do this again. So that was how I got in 2 tournaments. Of course, fighting, I hated it. I was sheer. I was disqualified my six tournaments in a row for disqualification, because I don't know if you know, way back then, Emil, martial arts way back then did not go according to your rank, or they went according to your size.
Right.
So when we were all lined up,
okay.
The man who's officiating would pull me and say, come with me, and he'd place me next to somebody. And that was when I discovered, I looked at her waist and I thought, she doesn't have a white belt on, you know, and I'm with a white belt, she was with a blue belt. And so I went hightailing it out there looking for Al, and I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not fighting. You didn't tell me that I don't fight with someone my own equal. The only equal is she's a woman, I'm a woman, but her belt shows she
Totally
has
different.
much more knowledge than me.
Right.
I'm 6 weeks. At least she must be 6 months. I didn't know. But and so I was leaving, and after they were all lined up, you know, they called my name, and Al grabbed me, and he literally pushed me in. So I had no choice.
That's the way you handle that, right?
I had to fight. But I was disqualified because out of fear. You know, you see somebody, it was I think, a taekwondo lady, and with all these legs and arms, basically legs
scary,
coming at me.
Yeah.
And I waited for her to come down from her high kicks, and then I just smashed her in the head. That was all I knew how to do. One kick, one punch.
That's it. And he put you with that in the first tournament.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I know that you are the first woman on the cover of the Black Belt magazine in the US, and you be a kind of a pioneer for women martial arts, I guess. And what do you think about changing over the time from, I mean, the early 60s to right now? What do you think it changed, especially for women in martial arts?
Well, you know, fight is fight. Still, you get in there and kick and punch. What has changed, I think, it used to be point tournament. However, that really never worked. You know, we were still doing full contact, hitting, knocking people out. What has changed, I can tell you. When I first started in the art, we didn't have any protection. My shins are proof to that.
Yeah.
My broken fingers, broken toes, no protection.
Yeah.
My first few tournaments, well, my first 6 for sure, was all raw hand, raw feet, toes.
That means a lot dangerous. I mean,
Oh, pain.
Painful.
Talk about pain.
Yeah.
You know? And so, of course, now everybody's padded up. And of course, now you have mixed martial arts, you have I mean, you have a huge change in what it used to be.
Right.
Again, it's like a menu. You can go anywhere you want in the school. What do you want to learn?
Yeah.
But you still have the weapons, you still have fighting, you have full contact, you have forms, you have, everything is still there. They've just added more. And I really liked the 70s and the 60s because I truly believe way back then, those were the true martial artists, the true pioneers who really were out at the forefront and started it. And then as time went about, everybody came up with their own, what they thought it should be.
Yeah.
And it was really unfortunate that a lot of the instructors didn't control what their black belts were doing when they went out and set up their own schools, because they changed a lot. You know, they changed. Nothing's wrong with changing tradition into a bit of contemporary, but the respect, the all that I learned when I first started in the art, I don't see as much as that now as I used to see.
That's really true. That's really true. I guess we have a special relationship because we know each other for more than 40 years.
I
You
know.
are my first teacher.
You were in your diapers when I first met you.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So I have such good memories of that. So that was depends on you travel. You moved with your whole family at this time to Hamburg, Germany. So would you like to tell me a little bit about your rememberings about that time?
At Hamburg, Germany?
About Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, when I first moved to Hamburg, Germany, I was in awe of, it's a different land, different country, different customs, culture, people, food, everything.
Everything.
Closets. We
Yep.
didn't have a closet.
Yep.
We had to bring our
I
own
know.
closet.
Yeah.
Cabinets.
Exactly.
Oh, it was awful. I gave myself time to try to adjust, but I didn't last very long at the very beginning. I stayed and I went back home. And I realized you can't have a family and your husband and all that when your life is now in Germany. So I came back. And when I came back, I totally forgot about America and all of my lifestyle there. And I adjusted to living in Hamburg, Germany, which I miss Hamburg. I love it so much. I grew very accustomed to the food, the people. I loved my students. I never had such an array of students that came from different walks of life. It was interesting. And it was like, my school was like a little international melting pot because we had
that's what it was.
Turkish and, it was
Everything.
just all gemisch. It was wonderful. And I have no bad memories of Germany whatsoever. The reason I learned to somewhat speak German, and this will always be a memory of mine. I was in the my first experience was at the grocery store. I didn't know you had to bring your own bags. And so I had all these things lined up, and I kept wondering, when are they going to pack my groceries? And finally, some man who spoke a bit of English came to me, and he told me, you must bring your own bags, because everybody was getting really upset with me. So that was very different. But what made me start to learn German was in the post office, and I was in this big line, and I knew, oh dear, I'm thinking internally, how am I going to convey, because if he spoke English, he didn't help me with it. He just stayed with German. I'm trying to tell him what I want to do. Well, there was this very robust German woman behind me, elderly, and she was in a bit of a rush, and she got really disgusted with me. And she went up to me as I was there, and she literally pushed me out of the way, and she was telling the postmaster, this and this and that. And I was that was what made me learn German. And then another, my Mark and Craig will never forget this. In America, the pedestrian has the right of way, and Germany, we were at a tournament somewhere, and Mark and Craig and Mom were going to cross the street, and here came this man in this fancy Mercedes, and he almost ran over us. I got so mad, I ran until he had to stop, and I threw a sidekick into the side of his Mercedes.
Oh my goodness.
It was not a pretty sight. I was just, to think my kids were almost dead. And so all of a sudden we had a big congregation of people, and again some person came to my rescue and said, take your children and leave. You are not from Germany. They're going to arrest you.
Wow.
And so I grabbed my two boys and we disappeared. But I was, yes, I had a rough beginning. But I love it. I now have lots of students that were there that I trained at an amazing school.
Yeah, that was a legendary school over there, the Seiler Street, right?
Yeah, Seilerstrasse. That was just. There used to be an old bowling alley. Do you remember?
Oh, of course I do.
Yeah. And it didn't belong to me. It belonged to Pal Winkle at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I was hired to work in this school with my kung fu. And it ended up where the kung fu section had many more students.
Such an amazing place.
And so Pal Winkle gave me the keys to the school, and we took care of the paperwork, and eventually it became my school.
So, when do you think is martial art supposed to be good for people they getting older? I mean, I came to you, I was 12 years old, and you influenced my whole life with that. So, but what do you think about people that getting older? Probably they stepped over the middle of her life, going older than 40. Is it
I don't know anybody that's old because it's a frame of mind, and I don't like to hang out with people that think they're old.
Oh,
it's a frame of mind. I'm going to tell you a little story. I've always taught young kids. You were 12 when I started teaching, much older than you.
Yeah.
I've never really taught the senior people.
Yeah.
And I was hired to work at a sports center, and that thought, oh, I'm a senior, so she'd be great to teach the senior people. But they really didn't know me.
Oh.
You know? They didn't know my style of teaching,
your history,
my outlook of life, that I have. You know, I'm not a senior as far as I'm concerned. The number says I'm a senior.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've never allowed myself to become old.
That's
and
very
so
nice of you.
I love teaching seniors that think they're old because I make them young.
Awesome.
They're a great challenge.
That is nice.
So when you get a senior that's teaching you who doesn't recognize age, she will influence you in part of your life to make you realize it's all a frame of mind. Age is how you live your life. If you want to say I'm old and you decide, well, I can't move, I have this ache, this pain, and you're popping all kinds of medication, then you're going to become old. My whole body is always in pain, but it's not pain from internal sickness, it's pain from too many years of running, too many weights I've lifted, too many kicks. It isn't anything that you can't work around. I don't know if you remembered in Germany when I broke my foot, and I had a cast, but I made him give me 2 casts so that I can continue teaching.
That's right.
I've never had an injury that kept me at home.
Stop you from training, right?
No. And so I love to teach people that think they're old, then I can show them that they're not.
That's really awesome. So I know you are a very deep thinking person and you're a believing person. So what is, for your view, the connection in between your believing and martial arts?
My believing
in God.
Well, I'm a woman that has a very strong faith, and I believe, you know, we all have teachers in life that have given us a black belt and this and that, but my teacher in life has always been God, and he's given me direction, and he's never kicked me aside. I'm the one that went astray. God never went astray. He was always just waiting for me to come back.
Yes.
And I believe, you know, there's some people, they say, yes, oh, there's a God. But I truly know there's a God because I can feel him in the presence within me. I've had such illnesses and sicknesses that doctors would say, take this, take that.
Yeah.
And I would just pray, and I would yell and scream at God and cry and tell him, if you're really there, then you show me you're there. You know, it's just, I know people might think I have no respect for God, but I have utmost respect for God. You know, I'm always telling God, you made me like this. That is your fault. If I'm not up to what you want me to be, then show me what you want me to be. And I have always had my prayers answered. May not be answered when I want them answered. A lot of people say we pray and God doesn't hear us. Well, he maybe doesn't hear you at that moment, but believe me, he does hear you. And when he wants to answer you, he will. You just can't give up and tell people there is no God. There is a God. And so people always say, if there's a God, why did he allow all of this? Well, God is our Father, and just like our earthly Father, you get punished sometimes when you're bad. So our Heavenly Father maybe gets disgusted with us.
You're right. Amen. So tell me a little bit about your own style.
My own style, yes.
It should be very interesting, and let's hear about a little bit of that.
Well, my own style, you know, I came from One Hop Kyudo and Jump Out Kung Fu and Kaja Kempo and all of this, and all the years I put into the art, Al really didn't have forms in his style. We practiced Silam forms, and whatever forms he had, they didn't come from within our own style, they came from somebody else.
Yep.
And I like, if you have a style, I like it to be pure. And so I started putting kung fu forms together for One Hop Kuen Do, but I didn't do too many of them for One Hop Kuen Do. But when I had a big break from the martial arts and I was teaching fitness, I really missed not having the art. And I thought, wow, I can make my own. You know, I used to choreograph forms, and I know what looks good, what looks bad.
Yep.
And my first student that I really put into competition with the form to see if they were accepted was Karen Shepard.
Yeah.
I put her still whip form together, her empty hand form together for competition, and I entered her in the most prestigious tournament. That would have been the internationals. And I thought, okay, I'm giving birth to my baby, my new form and my weapon. Let's see what the kung fu people from the community who are really kung fu sifus think of my material. You know, they're either going to laugh or they're going to lie.
I'm sure they don't.
Well, you never know. They don't like people to change tradition and to think you can come in with something new. And so it was a very positive. Karen, first of all, won, and the weapons and the empty hand, and she had so many people wanting to know, what is that? We've never seen anything like that before. But that was very nice. The compliments were beautiful, but it was the Sifus that went to her, not necessarily complimenting her so much, but wanted to know, who was your instructor? Who taught you what you're doing there? And then they would come to me and they would compliment me and say, where did you learn that? And I said, I didn't learn that from anybody. I choreographed it. It's my own style. And I said, if I have shown any disrespect for the art of Kung Fu, you know, forgive me, it was not my intention. It's just that I like to put this material together. So my forms have always been accepted, always won. You know, he came to the States, and I pushed all my students if I thought they were material to be recognized with. And Christian did amazing in the States with his form and in fighting. But Karen and the little children that I taught and all the students that followed. But my Shi and Dai Kung Fu, when I had the big break for all those years, that was when I developed 22 people, and they were my guinea pigs. Because I just, you know, they got so frustrated with me because I would put material together, and then I'd come back and they would show me what I taught them, and I would say, what was I thinking? That's horrible. We've got to change it. And so many times they'd say, which version should we show you, Malia? You've changed so many times. I said, and I will keep changing until it looks perfect. And so putting my style of Shi and Dai Kung Fu together, it's like any art. I teach fighting, self-defense, weapons, empty hand form. And I know people always say, Malia, you don't do anything but Kuen. That's not so. But I always like to explain to them, you know, I'm so heavily into fitness and always have been.
Yeah.
And to me, the one thing you lacked in fitness was you didn't have to memorize anything. You just go in there, aerobics, somebody's showing you what to do. You're like a little robot following along. And so I know when you learn Kung Fu form, it's memorization and using any form from any style. You must use your memorization and your brain. So I introduce people to my Shi and Dai, not really telling them that you're learning martial arts. I would only say, this is the ultimate of all exercise. You have to use your brain and your body. And you have to be able to do X amount of movements under a minute and get good points. And if you can do this, then you know you're in good shape. And so for me, forms have always been a fitness training tool, because you stretch, you lead, you jump, you do high kicks as you're punching, and you have judges to tell you if you look good or look bad. So I
that
think
means everybody can practice your system. Everybody can learn that.
I want everybody to learn it. I want, and you know, there for a while I went into, I would choreograph for the individual, because some individuals couldn't do my material, and maybe it was body size, maybe anything.
Whatever.
And so I would say, well, let's see what you can do. And I'd say, oh, I got just the thing for you. Sound like a salesman in a clothing store. Bring out another item. And I'd say, no, I'll make something for you. Don't get discouraged.
That is awesome.
So we're going to make a tailored form for you. And so I do that. Some people want
and
material.
they compete with that?
Yes, they compete with it.
Great.
In fact, all my forms started out with their name. This is the Maria form, this is the Elder form, and then eventually we would name them.
That is
but I
interesting,
started out because I realized in the art, a lot of people were of the same body structure. They couldn't do this, or they had injuries, but I wouldn't let anybody come up with an excuse why they couldn't do it. I would find the answer.
That sounds so perfect. So at least I want to know, what is your special trainings routine for every day? What are you doing? I know you run and you stretch. Do. So what is?
Well, as I grew older, I didn't slow down. I still do everything I ever did. I still lift. I start out at 4:30 every morning. I'm up out on the trail at 5:30. Before I used to be a hardcore runner, but I'm not now. Now I jog.
You jog.
I jog, and I enjoy the peace and quiet of the early morning. And
you did every morning?
Yes, every morning.
Wow.
And except Saturday and Sunday, I don't. That's my day. I do my run, and then I should stretch more than I do, but to be truthful and honest, I don't do enough stretching. I lift my weights, not to be big like I used to be, but just to remain toned. I still do amazing amount of ab work because of my back injury. I still do my squats, and I work on my stances. I work on basically everything I ever have, and because I am now the age I am and I look like I do, I figured it must be good for everybody because it got me to where I am now. And I have a very strong mind, attitude, and belief, and I don't know what no means. There's always a way around no. If you said, no, Malia, you can't do that, you probably get so angry at me because I'm one of the ones that come back and say, I'll accept your no if you tell me why, because I need to understand why you're telling me no. And then when you present your case, I should have been an attorney. I come back and present you, well, I could do it this way.
That's your nature, right?
Yes, it's my nature.
It's your nature.
And I love to run trails, and I love running in the wind and the rain. And I like my feet in the mud.
Oh, wow.
I like that stuff. Remember the planetarium?
Of course, yeah.
Well, I used to get up, it was 4:30 in Germany. I was the only one out there. Even in the snow, it would be all covered with snow. No tracks, only little marks of the rabbits. And I used to love putting my feet squishing in the snow, and I was the first person out there to go running.
You really like it.
I don't know if anybody ran at the planetarium. Maybe I was the only one.
Yeah, I guess.
But I loved it there, and I loved the building and the red light, and it was spooky and eerie.
Oh, it's so good, so good to hear that you have such good memories to Hamburg.
Oh, I have
all the
amazing
time.
memories of the shopping, the food, the cooking, the tea,
nice.
The people.
Yes.
I love sauerkraut, and people think I'm nuts, but you can't get sauerkraut in America like you can in Germany.
Yeah.
I loved everything. Even the Chinese food there was good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you remember we have a special Chinese restaurant over there.
Manoir. Yeah, Manoir.
The best char siu baos ever.
The best, yes.
Well, so I really thank you for that conversation, Malia. I appreciate that so much. It's for me a special moment, and it's a very, very touching conversation because you are a big part of my life and a big influence in my career.
Yeah, well, but before you close, I would like to say how proud I am of you. I mean, we've been,
so much.
We parted paths, not because it was our choice, it just kind of happened.
Yes,
and I never knew what happened to you, you never knew what happened to me.
Yes,
and it's like fate, God brought us back together. And when I actually contacted you again, I was sick with the flu. It was in December.
Yes.
I was very, very sick.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of the night on the computer.
Oh.
And your name and beginning, but you look amazing. I am so, so proud
thank you so much.
all your accomplishments.
Thank you so
and I'm
much.
so proud that you have such amazing teachers in Texas.
Yes.
I just met him. Where is that crazy guy over there? I love this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say his name wrong again.
Oh,
Grandmaster, I'll say his last name.
Al Garza.
I don't want the Texans to come after
Oh,
me.
yes.
But I love him, and I love the people. I love Marcus from Germany that came with you, and I love the people that you associate with. They're all good people. You have an amazing teacher who helped you reach where you are today.
Yeah.
But I look forward to training you again.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
I'll ask permission.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But I'm proud of you, and you look amazing, and I just want you to know that.
Thank you so much. Well, that was the talk from the Lone Star right of LA. Thank you, and see you again. Thank you, Malia. So
Thank
much.
you.
Love you so much.
Is it okay?
Whoa, one shot. That's amazing.